I have tried to record this video at least like 3 times now, and it just hasn't gone well. It's been a long time since I've had my face in the camera. I tried to write a script to read off of, and it's very hard to read off of a script and come across as like I'm still actually talking. Just feel like all of the footage just sounded like me reading off of a paper. I'm gonna try and not heavily rely on the script this time and just talk to you guys. The last video I came out with was my Pinterest picks what I draw. At the time, I hadn't really heard all the like AI stuff that was starting to infest Pinterest. I follow like Sam Does Arts. I saw his video talking about Pinterest and AI. When I first came out with that video, I was planning on making it like a series, but then after hearing about like the AI stuff and also my own experience using Pinterest, those pictures that I found as reference, trying to find the people to credit, it was really hard to find the people to credit. It didn't really make me feel all that great, and so I don't know if I really want to advertise Pinterest. I still use it personally and stuff like that. I don't know, I just feel weird about making it into a whole series. I guess you guys can let me know what you think, like what your thoughts are. And then just the chaos of the world unfolded. Like, so many things happened, just made me spiral a little bit, as I'm sure a lot of other people were and are right now. It caused me to drop drawing and creating like altogether. I was just glued to my phone, doom scrolling and panicking, feeling like the world was falling apart. Recently, I've kind of gotten out of that, and so I wanted to make this video to just share my experience of getting out of that. The news sharing what feels like only bad news all the time, and you know, that's what gets them the views, that's what gets them clicks and stuff, so they're only gonna share the bad stuff. I've gotten so tired of the news and social media recently, and feeling gross after being on social media or like watching the news for a certain amount of time. I didn't want to pause everything in my life just so I could sit and refresh my social media to see if the world was going to fall apart. How do you create in all of this chaos right now? Something that I noticed recently that seems pretty obvious to me now is that you are what you consume. If you consume a lot of conspiracy videos, then your brain space is going to be more untrusting and combative. If you consume a bunch of fear-mongering news content, you'll be convinced we're going into World War III and the world is in shambles. I at least know for myself that when I'd watch those types of videos, it would just leave me feeling more on edge, defensive and reactive, like the world was ending and I needed to become a doomsday prepper and buy everything I'd need in an apocalyptic type situation. But recently I've been trying to seek out more content that is optimistic and just like curious about the world. That content has really helped get me out of my fight or flight that I've been in. I've also been creating a playlist of a lot of the content I've been watching and enjoying. If you guys are trying to find more stuff like that, I will link that in the description below, so you can continue going down a more refreshing rabbit hole if you want. After watching more optimistic and thoughtful content, I feel myself taking deeper breaths and I can feel my brain becoming calmer. I can also feel my creative brain resetting. I'm more hopeful of humanity, more interested in helping build up my community rather than feeling fearful of it. And the videos centered more around drama are totally fine to watch. I'm not saying that you shouldn't watch those things, rather think of them more like junk food. If you consume a lot of it, it'll leave you feeling gross after. So everything in moderation. What I've been trying to do more with that type of content is, after I've watched it, paying attention to how I feel afterwards. Sometimes I just feel really frustrated and angry, or sometimes I just feel really distressed. And so in those moments where I'm feeling very like intense emotions, I know that it's good to step back and take a break and just process like what I watched. HG Modernism made a great video on this topic. I definitely recommend. Refers to social media like a Skinner box, and that will definitely be in one of the playlists below that you can watch. I feel like I should have more on this specific topic, but I don't. It's a pretty simple concept, but it's very hard to implement because social media does suck you in like very easily. It's very hard to take a step back, pause, think about what you just watched. I've been really focusing on curating content that serves me instead of, it controlling me. Making sure that it's stuff that I actually want to watch and I'm not just watching it because the algorithm tells me I should. If you're using a service that is free, then more than likely you are the currency. And I know a lot of people saw this with honey. It's not just honey, it's literally everything online. Scrolling through social media and every other post is an ad, just like a simple recipe online. Every time you scroll, it like pop-up after pop-up of like a little window pops up of an ad, and then there's something down at the bottom that you have to exit out of, and it's like so cluttered with ads that it just makes the whole experience feel awful. These video feeds are pushing emotional buttons, making us locked into this content lottery loop while the algorithm continues showing you things that you need to buy. Our attention is valuable, and I've been trying to take back mine. I was tired of spending countless hours scrolling social media only to feel slightly worse about myself and my life. So many times I'd see artists doing what I want to do, seeing them experience success in their careers and wishing that I could also do that, but always telling myself that I'll do something about it tomorrow, but never actually doing anything about it. I feel like social media is very good at making you feel productive while you are essentially doing nothing with your life. Putting the phone down and doing the work is very hard. It's a lot easier said than done. It's not as entertaining as the dopamine hit that my phone gives me. And also, believe me, I am not perfect about my phone usage every day. I still have days where I spend almost the entire day on social media. If I'm having a particularly rough day, don't feel like doing anything, I'm gonna scroll. And I definitely don't feel good after those days, but you gotta have balance. Those days have been getting farther and fewer between because I've started trying to pay more attention to how social media is making me feel, and it doesn't make me feel good like 80% of the time. Why would I spend so much of my life on something that is just not making me feel good, making me feel afraid and just like stressed? Another thing that really helped take the addiction of social media away a little bit is just seeing social media for what it is now. It's one giant advert. Anytime you find yourself really upset and angry at something, notice how there's a little ad around the corner. Anytime you're sad, there's a special something that will wipe away all your tears. When I realized the main goal of these platforms is to sell me something,
it feels like somebody wants to sell me something!
I told you he was on to us!
It took a lot of the magic out of it for me. A lot of the things it's trying to sell me aren't even good. A lot of times it's drop shipped or something made of flimsy material that won't last. So why am I spending all of my time on something that is making me feel bad and just trying to get to my wallet? And I'm not trying to demonize social media. In fact, it can be an amazing place where you can learn so many different things, meet people you otherwise may not have. It can be a wonderful space, but it can also be a terrible place, thus making it so addictive. If it was just good all of the time, then we probably would have gotten bored with it. There are these moments of, I wish I hadn't watched that, like I shouldn't have watched that, like that left me feeling bad. And then the next video, it's like something really great. It feeds off of our emotions and it just makes us further addicted. That's why it's so important to be mindful of what social media is doing to us and start being more intentional with what we decide to put into our brain holes. What's happening? Hold on. No. Good matcha. Some things I did that helped me and hopefully will help you. You know, if you're gonna pay attention to the news, give yourself limits. Set a time limit for how long you allow yourself to scroll. Set a certain time in the day to look at the news, preferably not right when you wake up or when you go to bed. News is far better digested in small bite-sized pieces. Take it from somebody who would sit and just watch way too many current event videos in one sitting and then would proceed to sit motionless the rest of my day because I was too overwhelmed and stressed out to do anything. Try watching only one news event at a time, pausing and seeing how you feel about it, just like processing it, and you can decide from there if you want to keep watching or not. I have been using this app called Screen Zen. I'm not sponsored, I just really like the app. I'm pretty sure they had an option to just buy it outright, and you know, it's always a plus when you don't have to pay a subscription just to use an app. You can set custom time limits for different apps, even have little exercises you do before you can open the app. It can also forcibly stop apps after every set amount of time. For me, it's every 10 minutes, and it pops up with a window asking how it made you feel. You can also customize that as well. Having it stop me every 10 minutes while I'm scrolling through social media, watching videos, it really helps me keep track of my time spent on that platform. It makes it a lot easier for me to not sink copious amounts of time in single sittings. Sometimes when it stops me, I'm just like, oh yeah, I don't think I want to keep watching. Like it has two options where you can unlock the app to continue watching, or you can just say don't unlock and it closes out. I just realized, yeah, like I don't really want to watch anymore and I just want to do something else, which is really nice. If there's one thing you take away from this video, please let it be this. These companies creating news content and also just social media as a whole, their main goal is to keep you watching as long as possible. The easiest way for them to do that is to hook people in through fear and anger. That way, they can cram an ad in and make money. News and current events are important to stay in the loop on, obviously. There's a lot going on right now that is important to pay attention to. It won't do you or the world any good if you're too paralyzed by fear to do anything about it. It won't do you any good if that anger that you're holding on to is taking up valuable space in your head, space that could be used for joy, creativity, and creating meaningful connections. Obviously, I understand the importance of intense emotions at times, and there are ways that you can channel it into changing stuff for the better. But it's important to check in with yourself on if those emotions you're experiencing are helping you or hurting you. The whole goal of this is to divide everybody because, you know, the people in power right now, their main goal is to make money and gain more power. And they're not going to be able to do that if people band together and realize, hey, I actually don't like what the government is doing right now and the state of America right now. Like I don't like that I can't afford groceries or that I can barely afford my rent and have to work 2 jobs just to get by. We should be sticking together on this. We shouldn't be letting it divide us. And social media is a very good way to divide people. That's why I've been taking a break from it, you know? I am worried at points that I'm like missing out on important events going on And sometimes that does happen, but it's like I do eventually hear about it. It's not like I've completely thrown away my phone and am just living under a rock now. It's not good for your mental health to be plugged into things happening all the time. It's gonna put you in fight or flight mode. It's gonna make you terrified or angry, and those emotions pent up is just not, it's a recipe for disaster. It's not good. I would like things to just have a little bit more chill. I would just like things to not be so intense all the time, and having such intense, strong emotions and hearing other people's strong, intense emotions all the time. Like, it's not healthy. So, step away from the smartphone, give your brain time to breathe, try to find local communities near you that you could join and get involved in. Meet people face to face. Look, I have social anxiety. I wouldn't be recording myself for the internet if I didn't have anxiety, and I feel like it's a certain type of person that starts making content online, but it's probably changed since then. Putting yourself out there is a lot easier said than done. Third spaces are becoming less and less of a thing, but it feels a lot more productive looking for local events and groups than being stuck refreshing my social media feeds. You could even start your own group if you aren't finding what you're looking for. Create the environment that you want. Get outside and touch grass if you can. Every time I go outside for a walk, I feel a lot better, a lot less brain spirally. Find a cafe near you that you can go to and bring a hobby or a craft that you can do while you're there instead of just looking at your phone. Also, or just don't look at your phone and just sit at the cafe and see if there's someone that you can strike up a conversation with, or don't even have to strike up a conversation. You can simply just try and find somebody that you can give them a compliment. Start trying to interact with the people around you instead of always looking at your phone. And also, like, when I'm saying this, I'm talking to myself as well. I do the exact same thing. I'm trying to be better about that and be present in my life around me. Schedule time with friends and family. Do a craft day. My boyfriend and his family are so sweet and cute. They've done craft brunches, and they even did a art auction one year for Christmas instead of buying each other gifts. This next advice that I have may seem counterintuitive, but try intentionally stepping away from creating. Give yourself space. This is something I've done on and off throughout my creative journey, and anyone that's followed me since day one will see that there are numerous gaps in between my upload and posting times. Sure, I may not be pumping out videos and content as much as I'd like, but sometimes you just need space to process what's going on in the world, to bring yourself back to equilibrium, whether it's from stress or life simply just getting too busy. I will say that after those long periods of not making anything, I do feel this sense of I'm gonna get stagnant, or worse, I'm gonna lose those artistic skills I was building on. But after those breaks, taking time to care for myself and really think about the type of art that I want to make and why, eventually when I do get around to making something, I feel a lot more in tune with who I am as a creative individual, and sometimes it's even better than where I had left off. Progress is never a straight line up. It's always all over the place, taking steps back, taking steps forward, sometimes pausing and starting back up again. As long as you continue showing up, that's all that matters. It's okay to give yourself a break to process. Give yourself a break to acknowledge all of the emotions that you've been stuffing down with excessive amounts of doom scrolling and YouTube. Our brains were not meant to take on this much chaotic news in our day-to-day lives. Give yourself a break. I'm gonna keep saying it, so maybe you will. Some suggestions for intentional breaks could be limiting your social media use or completely blocking it for a set amount of time. Journaling, writing out your thoughts onto paper. One thing I've done from time to time is essentially word vomiting onto paper, pouring out all of my thoughts and worries. It definitely helps calm my brain if I'm feeling particularly chaotic. You can fill your creative cup with good movie and TV shows, stuff that you already know that you love, or just finding new things to love. I recently saw Mickey 17 and I went into it completely oblivious to what it was even about. I didn't watch any trailers or anything. I loved it. It was so much fun. Just recently finished the first season of The Last of Us. I watched the first episode right when it first came out, and it scared me so much that I had to stop watching it for a while. It is also really good. I'm just a baby when it comes to scary things sometimes. You can pick up a hobby that isn't centered around making something for social media. Could be something just for you, like coloring, or it can be something that you share with others in real life, like just simply giving somebody a little sketch that you did that you thought they'd like. And as mentioned before, go outside. It's definitely hard to get myself out of the house sometimes, but every time I'm able to get outside and just exist amongst the trees, I feel a lot more grounded, like an actual human being living in this world. Find something that brings you genuine excitement, something that brings back that creative spark. I love old artwork. I found this amazing graphic design book with artwork from 1962 to 63. There's such cool designs for posters and packaging, and every time I look at it, it just gives me that itch to start like making something. What would be something that would bring out that inspiration for you to start making something? One more recommendation that I have, I've recently tried getting back into reading. I got myself an e-reader and I've been really enjoying it. Could also do like audiobooks as well. I highly recommend Catherine May's books. I've only read Wintering so far, but I just recently started reading her other book, Enchantment. I think the first step in trying to create during chaotic times is bringing yourself back to center, whether that's taking your attention back for yourself or giving yourself space to process the things going on in your life, realizing that there's a whole world outside of your screen and connections you could be making with people around you. I'm sure you've heard the term loneliness epidemic. Everyone, including myself, is craving for connection and community. You can get that through the internet, but it's also important to be involved in the community around you if you can. It's a hard thing to do, and one I am still working on, but it feels a lot less daunting knowing that there are so many people out there who are also craving connection and community. After you've had time to rest and reset, now you can move on to baby steps. Whenever I'm at this stage of trying to get back into making stuff again, my first thought is usually, what's the most complex project I could start right now? And that thinking makes me procrastinate because it's really hard to go from 0 to 100. Start small. Meet yourself where you're at. One time I did a 30-day daily doodle challenge in a mini sketchbook that I had. It was so much fun, and I still reference a lot of those sketches to this day. So start a small project, keep it somewhere within reach, and also keep a small tool case with it. I found that half the battle is just starting. Having things close by and easily accessible makes it a lot easier for you to start making stuff. And keep it simple. Don't jump into the deep end trying to do a complex project right off the start. And that's all I've got. It's very simple, maybe underwhelming, but this simplicity is what has kept me continuing my creative journey. The most important thing is showing up for yourself, even if it's in bite-sized pieces. And you should show up for yourself because you're worth it. Everyone should have the joy of creating things in their life. The world is a more vibrant place with creativity and art in it. I know I've been saying a lot of flowery, optimistic things. I'm not denying that the world feels like it's on fire right now, but the world has never been a perfect place. It only feels worse now because everyone can broadcast anything from anywhere. I'm sure if people had smartphones back in the day, that things would probably be the same, if not more so fucked up seeming. That's not to be dismissive of the terrible things going on currently. There is a lot of serious stuff going on in America right now. So many caveats, like obviously we get a lot of important information from social media and stuff like that. And so it's like, I'm not saying that you should never use social media, like you should never pay attention to this kind of stuff. But it's not okay to just be in this all or nothing kind of thinking. Like, we should be able to have healthy conversations with people. And I don't know, like I just feel like I've been seeing anger and fear and hatred just brewing online, and it is scary. I don't know, man. Like, yes, shit is crazy right now, but figure out where you want to focus your energy and do something about it. The videos I'll be doing going forward are going to be more for fun and entertainment, but I've really been feeling the weight of the chaos going on right now, and I wanted to share what's been helping me. The last thing I'll leave you with is this quote from Catherine May's book, Wintering: The Power of Rest and Retreat in Difficult Times. In The Wisdom of Insecurity, Watts makes a case that always convinces me, but which I always seem to forget, that life is, by its very nature, uncontrollable, that we should stop trying to finalize our comfort and security and instead find a radical acceptance of the endless, unpredictable change that is the very essence of this life. He is telling us the truth. Change will not stop happening. The only part we can control is our response. Believing in the unpredictability of my place on this earth, radically and deeply accepting it to be true, is something I can do only in fits and starts. It is in itself an exercise in mindfulness. The numbers are bigger online and our misconnections feel more visible. I'm beginning to think that unhappiness is one of the simple things in life, a pure, basic emotion to be respected, if not savored. I would never dream of suggesting that we should wallow in misery or shrink from doing everything we can to alleviate it, but I do think it's instructive. After all, unhappiness has a function. It tells us that something is going wrong. If we don't allow ourselves the fundamental honesty of our own sadness, then we miss an important cue to adapt. Short of that, we need to perform those functions for ourselves, to give ourselves a break when we need it, and to be kind, to find our own grit in our own time.